12 world pacers set out together, bound by the curiosity for the world and a crazy man named Alex. Over 6,800 kilometers and 18 days of travel, we crossed mountains, rivers, weaving through 8 different cities that each contribute to the trip in their own unique ways, ranging from the easternmost to the westernmost place in China. This trip wasn't just a trip measured in distance, but by the awe of standing before landscapes never experienced before, the flavors discovered in hidden alleys, and each person's own story to tell.
My name is Stuart and I'm currently 14 years old. I go to school in Canada and this is my 3rd time going on a World Pacers trip.
I've always manifested to the idea of 读万卷书不如行万里路, which roughly translates to experience is the best teacher. Over the years, this belief has led me to more than 30 countries to immerse myself in new languages, foods, and cultures along the way. Yet, I realized that even though I'd leave my footprints around the globe, I've never truly explored my homeland. China isn't just a place on the map for me, it's home, yet somehow still a mystery to be uncovered. So, in Across China, I set out to trace the rivers that have carried generations before me, to walk the same stone paths worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, and to see for myself the wild, changing heartbeat of this land. Every journey was both a discovery of China and a rediscovery of myself. The head of the Brewster, Fuyuan, marked the first stop of the journey. Waking up at 2 a.m. when it's your second day in a new setting isn't the normal case scenario. But this wasn't some casual vacation. We weren't living in luxurious hotels and having Michelin-star chefs serve us food. So everything had to be on us. And I enjoyed the challenge.
The place we are at right now, which is Fuyuan, is the easternmost city in China. And having the sun come up in the east, it means that Fuyuan has the earliest sunrise. I've quite possibly experienced the most exciting thing on our whole trip.
The sky was pitch black when we set off, chasing the first rays of sunlight touching this country. Later, when the light finally broke, the sun climbed slowly up the horizon, coloring the sky with shades of red, yellow, and pink. Spilling over where the Ussuri River and the Heilongjiang River collided. Standing there at that moment in the dawn, it felt like China was waking itself up along with us, and our adventure had surely found its perfect start. An adventure cannot become an adventure if you don't step out of your comfort zone and embrace the unfamiliar circumstances. For me, the green-skin train from Fuyuan to Harbin became my first taste of that on the trip.
我们从富远去哈尔滨呢，其实选的是卧铺，让孩子们坐上10几个小时，折腾一宿。为什么这么干？他们可能出门现在坐的全都是高铁动车了，对吧？那趁着绿皮火车还没有退出历史舞台，让他们感受一下他们的爸爸妈妈曾经用什么样的交通方式从自己的家乡走到各个大的城市，获得现在辉煌的成就。所以其实让孩子们重新走一遍父母曾经走过的路，这本身就有很大的意义。
Let's face it, I hated being in open spaces, the unhygienic toilets, the hard and narrow beds, the wonky smell of cigarettes. But these annoyances didn't stop me from enjoying this experience. In fact, it shaped it. Somewhere between the endless tracks and lost time, I began to realize that what held me together wasn't the conditions of the train or the activities we planned to do. It was the people. Sharing the cramped spaces, the instant noodles and snacks, the conversations, and the laughter despite the discomfort in our surroundings. I learned that enduring through the toughest of times together truly makes a relationship worthwhile. And that the green-skin train didn't just carry us from the start to the destination, but pulled everyone closer together. There are many ways to begin understanding a country's culture. To truly understand a culture, you can't just skim through the surface. You have to dive below the iceberg and uncover the origin that keep its surface afloat. This is exactly what we did in Harbin. We chose to look beneath the beauty of the city itself, to confront the darker, easily forgotten memories. The Unit 731 Museum is the perfect illustration of this. Beneath the ground lay evidence for the merciless atrocities committed by the Japanese during World War II. Human experiments, biological warfare, and countless other war crimes that were ignored, though deemed forbidden by the rest of the world. Standing there, reading the texts and scanning through the pictures on the wall, I couldn't help but shiver. The chill wasn't only from the museum's temperature, but from the realization of how deeply history can scar people, and how those scars continue to shape identity long after the wounds are inflicted.
This was also a shame for Japan as for what they did, and also a shame for the war because of the inhumane ways they used to punish and brutally murder Chinese citizens and also citizens of other countries, like other superpowers like Soviet Union and North Korea, which I felt was just very prestigious and very heartbreaking, especially as a Chinese citizen.
我们的民族曾经被侵华日军做过这样的折磨，所以当你看到这些事实的时候，所以心里面是没有办法平静。中国人曾经遭受过多少苦难，也能理解现在的生活多么来之不易。
Straight after the cold winds of Harbin and the weight of history still lingering in our minds, the journey took us southwest into a completely different world. Chongwei, a city situated at the edge of the desert.
This is my first time. Desert is very astonishing because of how large it is.
The moment we arrived in the desert, it felt as though we had set foot on another planet. Rolling dunes stretched in every direction. Glowing gold colors shone under the cloudy sky. Just as I thought about our surroundings, everyone began charging up the hill at full speed for a sand sliding experience. And once I reached the bottom, I was covered in sand. Everyone was laughing, but I knew they weren't laughing at me. They were laughing with me. What I thought would be child's play turned out to be one of the purest, simplest thrills of the trip. The next day, we continued our exploration by going to the Shapotou Park, a place that felt like it was carved out of the desert. I tried lots of activities that I'd never imagined before, like crossing the Yellow River on a zip line with the water roaring beneath me, or learning traditional dances with a stranger. But nothing excited me more than when I stood on the bungee tower. Just looking down from the 50-meter height gave me a shiver. My palms grew sweaty and my pulse quickened. Yet I didn't turn away. I was caught between two emotions. Excitement, because part of me craved the rush, the adrenaline and anxiety. But the other part of me said, that might be too far, don't do it. Standing on the edge, staring down into the drop, I knew this was a test, not of physical strength, but of courage. I leaned forward and let go. The drop was instant. The air tore past my face. My heart pounded against my chest, and my brain couldn't decide whether to panic or celebrate. I wasn't falling, more like tumbling into the sky with nothing to hold me but a thin rope snapping tight above. My scream turned into laughter somewhere midair when the rope tightened and it started swinging from side to side. When I was finally brought back up, I realized that I had stepped across the threshold again, and that bravery isn't defined by what you say, it's about what you do despite your instinct tells you not to.
所有孩子全部突破了自我，不只是参加了一个极限的运动，其实这些都是对他们生命的一种宣誓，就是我敢于突破心里的这一条极限，我相信他们会铭记一辈子。
I was waving at the camera, waving at the crowd, and I felt kind of proud because there were parents like pointing at me and saying, "Oh, look at this kid, he's very brave, he's going on the bungee jump."
If Qinghai Lake were a painting, then the Chaka Salt Lake would be a mirror. The lake stretched out in a blinding sheet of white and silver, so still and reflective that the sky seemed to melt into the ground. When I stepped out of the salt crust, it crunched under my giant red boots. But beyond that, the world seemed silent, like it was holding its breath. What amazed me most was how different every place was compared to everything else we'd seen. It was as if China kept changing masks, revealing a new face just when you thought you had understood it.
Chaka Salt Lake is also kind of a new experience for me. Kind of produced like artwork in my eyes, so I always cherish that.
It was time to embark on another mission. Crossing the Qilian Mountains. The transition was almost unreal. As we drove, the air grew noticeably colder and thinner. The altitude climbed from about 2,000 meters to nearly 3,000 meters.
我们选了一条特别险的公路，叫茶漠公路，因为在这条公路上你无法预期天气，一旦它下暴雨，你可能就在山里面出不来了。而且呢，我们看到这个车从海拔2000多米一直要爬到海拔4000米，因此带来的高原反应对孩子们来说是一个特别大的挑战。
And with it came a strict rule: conserve your energy. Even simple movements like walking too fast or carrying your backpack felt heavier than they should, and I began to feel dizzy. It was as if the mountains were testing us, reminding us that survival here meant respecting their pace, slow and steady. The landscape itself, though, was a major contrast. Streams of melted snow traced silver lines down the ridges, and the clouds drifted so low they brushed the mountainsides. On the other side of the highway, fields of yellow cauliflower blossoms stretched across the distance, spreading out like a yellow carpet. The scenery blended into something I've never seen before. The yellow, green, white, and blue colors strangely harmonized together to produce something surreal. This time, I began to understand nature's power and beauty.
We also, not only did we see like the different sets of landscapes, like we saw like snowy mountains, like mountain peaks, lots of different kinds of animals and flowers along the way. This was one of like the most astonishing moments that I've ever like witnessed in my life.
The next day, we drove to Jiayuguan, the westernmost gate of the Great Wall, a fortress that once marked the territorial edge of ancient China. It was like stepping through the history books. The walls towered over us. The gray, yellowish bricks blended into the desert perfectly, as if the earth had planted them thousands of years ago. Walking on top of the fortress, it felt as if I could hear the echoes of the past, as if the walls, carved out of gravel and bricks, still remembered every story.
It was basically the westernmost part of the Great Wall, and once you go further than that, you're basically crossing the boundaries of ancient China, and like nobody could protect you. Before I didn't really learn a lot about Jiayuguan only because I didn't really learn that in school, and so I had to read like textbooks like and other books outside of school, and they didn't really talk about that. But after Alex gave us a couple lectures, it kind of deepened our understanding of this place, and it made me reflect on how important this place is for the civilization of China, and also like the trading of like Silk Roads, the economy of China, and how important as a city it is. Also, another very interesting interaction on Jiayuguan was Guanzhao, and it was basically an ancient passport in the Ming Dynasty that somebody would give you to let you like leave Jiayuguan into like the West. The guy that kind of gave us a passport was very funny, and we had lots of like interesting conversations. They also gave me an insight about how trading and how these people left a country and went to another country in ancient China.
Our first stop in Dunhuang was the Mogao Caves. Standing before the ancient grottos, I felt as if I could hear the chanting and echoes of monks thousands of years ago. The murals and statues, though weathered by time, still glowed faintly with striking color and detail. It was astonishing to me how in the middle of such barren land, humans could create something to this magnitude and such intricacy.
Well, I felt that it was very fascinating just because of how many caves there were and how enormous they were for each cave. It was just how fascinating to me that how people from like 1,000 years ago with their technology at the time could build things that large and that detailed. They're like eyebrows, eyelids, all like carved to scale, which is very fascinating to me to understand.
Kashgar was our last stop of the trip, and at the westernmost city in China, our final stop truly amazed me. It pulsed, unlike any other Chinese city I've been to. Narrow alleys twisted and turned between wooden structures, draped and decorated with carpets or vines. Walking through the streets, it felt as though history had stayed with us. That caravans of the Silk Road might still appear around the corner at any moment. Kashgar didn't look different. It sounded different too. The moment we arrived, I realized Mandarin was no longer the dominant language around us. Instead, the streets were filled with the flowing, rhythmic sounds of Uyghur.
I felt like the citizens here, even though many of them aren't very fluent in Mandarin, they're more fluent in their like own language, but they would still do their best to help us and lead us away when we didn't know where to go or where to find something or somewhere. They would always try their best to help us.
In Kashgar, the language reminded me of just how vast and diverse China truly is. It wasn't just about different accents or dialects. It was a whole new cultural phenomenon, coexisting within the same borders. In Fuyuan, at China's easternmost edge, we woke at 2 a.m. and set out into the dark to catch the country's earliest sunrise at 3. The light there was tender, brushing the rivers with pale pinks and soft golds. It felt like my motherland was slowly stretching awake, quiet and gentle, offering us a promise of beginnings. Thousands of kilometers and 18 days later, in Kashgar, I found myself at the opposite end of the country, waiting for the sun to set at 9:30 p.m. Between a sunrise at 3 a.m. and a sunset at 9:30 p.m., I lived a story that stretched from one edge of the country to the other. One I'll remember for life. What I learned from this journey across China is that comfort doesn't define happiness. Connection does. The people I traveled with and the strangers I met along the way showed me that joy comes from shared struggle, laughter, and self-discovery, not from luxurious hotels and king-size beds. I also learned that culture isn't just something you read in books or celebrate on holidays. It's lived, felt, and carried in memory. But most importantly, I realized that courage isn't just the absence of fear, but the decision to step forward anyway, whether it meant climbing dunes, jumping into the sky, or lifting the weight of history myself. This journey wasn't just about seeing China. It was about rediscovering myself through it.
Stuart 已经是第3次参加世界行者了，成长非常大，他的自我管理能力非常好，他的知识储备量也非常的大，所以在整个行程当中，他其实问我问题非常多，非常的好学，他也喜欢参加讨论，而且他也知道人与人之间的关系的边界感在哪里，他会把人际关系处得比较和睦。Stuart 要学会怎么样和特别优秀的人做深度的交流，而不是只有竞争关系，或者是必须谁臣服于谁，不一定是这样的，而是能够和一帮能人融合在一起，了解他们内心真正的需求。我希望他在下次行程当中能够更多的去退下来观察人性和人心。我台北市非常酷。